And they think, wow, wow, wow. This is everything in the world. This is the thing that we all look for it, and everybody's hanking, running after, So like that, those are the senses. So senses has to be used in the service of God. Senses has to be used properly. Okay? You can use that. It is senses are, we are not saying don't use the senses. Use it properly. That can be utilized in your, that is beneficial in your life or in your family, society, nation, or country, whatsoever. Okay. So by doing that, utilizing the senses in the service of God, then you are karma bandhana. You will be free from the reactions of fruitive activities. Okay, karma. Now, bandhan किसका होता है? Who is bound? बंधन मन की होती है, शरीर की होती है, या आत्मा की होती है? Who is bound? The mind, the body, or the soul? आप बताइए किसका बंधन होता है? आपके ओपिनियन में what do you think? Who is bound? The mind, the body, or the soul?
Mind and body.
Give me one answer only.
Soul.
Soul.
Soul is bound. That what? That you said? You accept that?
I thought soul is free.
So you don't accept that. You accept that, or you have different answer? हाँ?
Soul.
Soul. बंधन किसका होता है? आप बताइए.
I think mind.
माइंड का बंधन होता है. What do you think?
Mind. Body is not bound. Soul is not bound. Mind is bound.
Okay. Soul is not bound. Mind is bound. What do you think, Prabhu?
Mind.
Mind. Okay. So majority of you said mind is bound, not the soul is bound. Soul is not bound, correct? Now let's see what Kapil Dev says. मन, शरीर एंड आत्मा. अभी इनकी जो गति होती है, द डेस्टिनेशन. ओके, लेट्स गो द शरीर, द बॉडी. शरीर का 3 गति होती है. Okay, there are 3 destination for the body only. Once you die, if somebody burns you, you become ashes. राख बन जाते हो.
Body like shirt.
Okay. If somebody buried you in the ground, you become mitti, mud. You turn into a mud. And if somebody carelessly throw you in some ditch or somewhere, some jackals or eagles or whatsoever will come and eat you, you become their food. Ultimately transfer into a stew. आपका शरीर का जो गति है उतनी ही है. That is the destination of the body. Okay. And जो शरीर, जो मन होती है, and आत्मा जो होती है, आत्मा is eternal. Okay. The soul is eternal. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, नैनम चिन्नन्ति शास्त्राणि नैनम दाहति पावक न चैनम क्लेदन्त्यापो न शस्यति मारुतः. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Krishna says, the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapons, no bursten by water, no without by the wind. It is eternal, everlasting. It is primeval. It is not slain, even if body is slain. Correct? So therefore, soul is eternal. So जो eternal है, how can that eternity be bound? Correct? Eternal जो चीज है वो तो eternal है. Therefore there is no question of soul being bound. And soul का कोई बंधन होता ही नहीं है. Yeah. So therefore we come to the understanding. We come to the conclusion that soul can never be bound. Soul is always eternal, and sometimes the soul is covered by different dualities, just like a fire, smoke covered by a smoke. Correct? The because the smoke is covering the fire, that doesn't mean that fire loses his dharma. You know, fire is going to burn, whether you see the fire or not, correct? That is the dharma, that's the duty of the fire. So sometimes the soul is covered by the body or the different elements or the traces, but the soul is always eternal. He is not touched by anything. He is always aloof. So therefore, soul is eternal. It cannot be. So soul का गति जो होता है वो eternally होता है और उसका बंधन कभी होता नहीं है. It cannot be bound. Okay. So अभी last हो गया मन. मन हमारे शरीर में जो ज्ञानेंद्रिय और कर्मेंद्रिय है, नॉलेज सेंसेस, एक्वायरिंग नॉलेज सेंसेस, एक्टिव सेंसेस है, कर्मेंद्रिय. सो ये सब 11 सेंसेस आर देयर अकॉर्डिंग टू द भागवत गीता. एंड आउट ऑफ दिस सेंसेस दिस सबसे ऑलमोस्ट टू द टॉप ग्रेटेस्ट वन इज माइंड. करेक्ट? The driver, a गाड़ी, okay, it's a car overall. Okay, within the car there are so many part purja, correct? So many small nuts and what not is all there, and overall there is a whole body set up. So the mind is like that. गाड़ी तो कहीं भी जाती है, उसको कंट्रोल करने वाला तो फिर दूसरा कोई होना चाहिए ना, ड्राइवर. There has to be a driver within you, correct? So, mind is like that. Now, mind can, in a second, think of, you are sitting here, you can be in Vrindavan. You can be in Vaikuntha, you can be in Golokdham, you can be in some house, whatsoever you can think of. Mind का गति बहुत ही fast है. There is nothing faster than the mind. That's why Krishna, Arjuna is telling Lord Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra in Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse says, Chanchalami mana Krishna pramati balavad dridham tasya amnigriham manne vayuriva shivesvaram. He says, the mind, chanchal, itana chanchal hai, it is so flickering. My dear Krishna, it is impossible to control the mind. Chanchalami mana Krishna pramati balavad dridham. So rapid, so इतना जल्दी है, इतना सेकंड में कहीं भी पहुँचती है और every moment is changing different things, different ideas are flowing in the mind. Swifter than the wind. So Arjuna is saying, Krishna, you are telling me, you are talking about controlling the mind. What are you talking about? It's impossible. I can't do that. If you tell me to control the wind, yes, I will definitely control the wind. I have no problem on that. But how can you control your mind? So Krishna says, Asamsayam mahabhavo manodruni graham jalam abhyasena tu panteya vairagyena chakriya. What he says? Asamsayam mahabhava, hey mahabhava, Arjun, there is no doubt what you are talking about. Mind is very flickering and very chanjalpati. It's very flickering. It's very arrogant. You can't control the mind. I understand that. But I am not completely satisfied what you say. Why? He says, Asamsayam mahava manodruni gramchalam. Even though the mind is very flickering, abhyasena tu panteya. Says, vairagyena chakriya. One can come beyond it by the process of abhyas, through the process of practice. Abhyas means practice. So practice what? Practice our devotional service. मन को आप स्थिर कर सकते हो. You can control the mind through the process of devotional service, bhakti yoga. Through the process of bhakti yoga. Why do you think that all this 8 siddhi, ashtanga yoga, different Rishi Munis and sages and whatnot, different people, they perform all sorts of yogas for. What is the conclusion of that yoga for? Hatha yoga, Ashtanga yoga, Jnana yoga, Dhyana yoga, Pranayama, Pratyahara, so many yoga processes are there. It's all meant to control the mind. The conclusion, sub and substance of all kinds of yoga is just to control the mind. So that you can be used in the service of Krishna. In other words, you can engage yourself in the service of God, which is the ultimate yoga. Krishna says, Yogi namapi sarvesam mazgate dantaratmana sraddha bhanvajate yomam same yukta tamo mata. Out of all the yogas, Yogi namapi sarvesam, the topmost yoga is the spontaneous devotional service. Yogi namapi sarvesam mazgate dantaratmana. Thinking of God within himself eternally. With Sardha Bhangajate Yoma. With Sardha, with complete, unflinching faith. Sardha. क्योंकि आपका पास श्रद्धा ही नहीं है, तो फिर डिवोशनल सर्विस का तो प्रश्न ही नहीं होता है. Anything you do, anything and everything, that first you have to have some kind of faith, some kind of trust, some kind of hope. Otherwise, you don't reach your destination. There is no question that you want to reach your destination. So that's why Krishna says, with Sardha, with devotion, with that faith, then that person or that yogi becomes the topmost, the greatest yogi. Okay? So, now we know that Kardama Muni and Devaki were already beyond those Ashtanga, Ashtasiddhi, correct? They had complete Ashtasiddhis. And we have heard already, we have already discussed that how great Yogi Kardama Muni was, how great Yogini Devahuti was, and what exalted position, what they could do, what was the power. Not like nowadays, somebody get out of Ashtasiddhi, one Siddhi, and they can create some kind of black magic, create some, put some, acid in the hand, create something, or some coins, or, somebody, nowadays we see in the YouTube that somebody just does like a cut with the hand, the body, and makes two pieces, and join with somebody else's body. All kinds of weird things you see. If that thing you do in India, then you put it together, they'll tell you Bhagavan, you are Bhagavan. The Western guys, I saw one in YouTube, somebody put two people on the bench and with doing some kind of miracles, he cuts with the hand like this. He doesn't even toss the body, just on the top. And splits body and half body, upper and lower part, and separates it. And दूसरे को भी वैसे करता है. Both are separated and both part of the bodies are completely separate from the body, and they are in a different side, and they are all moving, they are live. And what he does, he puts the half body with the male to the female, and female to the male, and join it together. And everybody yells it, screams it, Now, if he could do that, he'll put it back again. Eventually, and it doesn't show on that scene. But I'm sure later on you must have to again do the same thing and put it back, join the same. So, if you do that, because the less intelligent people, or common mass of people, when they see some kind of miracles, अरे इसको मार के, उसको काट के भी उसको जोड़ दिया, ये तो भगवान है, जय भगवान. So this is a concept, especially in our India, very easily and cheaply they accept people as God. For any small miracles or black magic you do, you can become God. God is not so. God's position, the title God, is not so cheap. One should understand that. So, forget about one siddhi. there are 8 siddhis, and out of 8, Kardama Muni was greatest yogi. Not only from the prospect of knowing these 8 siddhis, but beyond that, because he knew the higher consciousness, he knew the supreme science, Raj Vidya Raja Guhya, the most confidential knowledge. He knew already that. So he was not an ordinary yogi. And he was looking for the girl who is matching his nature, means Devahuti was as equal to him. According to the, what we heard, according to the story. So therefore, now the Kardama Muni is leaving, he is taking Banaprastha, is going away, and Mother Devahuti is inquiring from him, from his son who is there, about how to engage the mind, how to engage the senses, how to engage the body, how to engage different, how to become a perfect God conscious, basically, overall. And the founder, the fundamental principle of Sankhya Yoga, or the founder Acharya of the Sankhya Yoga is Kapil Dev. And he teaches that Sankhya philosophy. Now we know today there is another Kapil Dev also who teaches Sankhya philosophy, but in Bharatvarsha. But that is not the same Kapil Dev as which is talking here, or Srimad Bhagavatam that talks about. Because this Kapil Dev is a Raska Kapil Dev. He just talks based on his realization, or based on the mundane, how to become a successful mundane, fruitive enjoyer, fruitive activities. You can perform fruitive activities and become a perfect materialistic or material enjoyer. He doesn't say based on the desire of the teachings of Lord Kapila, or based on the desire of God, or the conclusion to please the Supreme Personality of God. The Sankhya philosophy means to be a God conscious. So whatever he says is not related to those things, therefore he is not really bona fide. So this Kapil Dev is the proper Kapil Dev, that which has been discussed, that which has been taught, that which has been glorified, and who is the Supreme Personality of God himself. After instructing the most confidential knowledge of devotional service to Mother Devahuti, for many decades, she became so purified and absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, he was already devotee. That's why Krishna chose. That's why God chose to be come as the son of Devahuti. Correct? Not an ordinary person will get that opportunity to make God as their parents, to be the parents of God. So therefore, even then, for the example, to show an example for the society, of course God does things accordingly. So now Kapil Deva instructs fully, पूरा भर देते हैं ज्ञान, पूरा Krishna conscious, she is fully charged with the battery, in full 100% charged with devotional service. Now Kapil Dev thinks it is time for him to leave the ashram. Where was that ashram? Do you guys, anybody remember? Kapil Dev का आश्रम किधर था? Kardama Muni, where was his ashram? Heritage was, where he was meditating. What did he reside? In the bank of river Saraswati, correct? Bindusara. There was a lake called Bindusara, correct? So now Lord Kapila Dev is leaving. पहले श्रीमान ने त्याग दिया और एक बेटा के आधार में माँ बैठी थी, अभी बेटा भी जा रहा है. आप बताइए, no matter how God conscious you may be, what will be the situation of that mother who is completely depending on one son? वृद्धा है, elderly mother है, old lady who is depending on a young son. Now that son is also living. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu का ऐसे ही हुआ. Remember how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was only 20-25 years old when he took sannyas, and mother was widow, and his beautiful wife was there, just recently married, and now he's leaving everybody and going to take sannyas. What could be? You can just imagine what would be the situation of that moment. Mother Devavati internally, because she had full realization, she was, prepared. But materially looking, she was very disappointed. She was very, her eyes were filled up with tears. पूरा आँख में आंसू से भरा हुआ था. She was very painful situation externally looking. Why? She was a self-realized soul. Why she is acting like that? How can this material attachment cause for such a great exalted personalities like Devahuti? One can question that. Remember that Kapil Dev was not an ordinary son like what we see today, your son and my son. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. If Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is coming to you as a son, and if he wants to leave, or he is going away from you, who is that person who will not cry, who will not be disappointed upon losing that valuable jewel? I'm sure everyone will feel some kind of prettiness. Forget about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'll just give you a material example. I was in Portland, Corvallis, few years ago, giving a discourse in Bhagavad Gita, 11 days. Believe me or not, after the discourse, in 10 days of discourse, I went to do Bhagavad Katha there, but the organizer requested me to discuss on Bhagavad Gita because they needed that more than the Katha, regular Katha, because they were more from the south and we were Sri Sai Baba. So he wanted to give the proper message and engage them in service. So we had 10 days discourse in Bhagavad Gita. Believe me or not, in 10 days when I was returning, every single people, within 10 days everybody committed of chanting 8 to 16 rounds, everybody who came there. And I was shocked. In my life I never felt that जो feeling मेरे को मिला before I left. I never felt when I left home. I never felt when I got green card. I never felt in my life yet anything that separation. इतना लगाव उनके हमारे प्रति और हमारा भी उनके प्रति इतना स्नेह बढ़ गया